So I'll provide an update from the back of the room. It might generate a little conversation. Last time when we met, we had talked about some equipment and gear and things from Senior TV. So folks that might be in our cottages, somewhere, a panel in the garage, that kind of a thing. We are going to actively start disconnecting that and then removing that in the coming few weeks. One of our electricians at Garden Spot Village is going to come over here for about 2 weeks' time, and that's one of the projects he's going to work on. Even if we don't get the actual equipment removed, we're at least going to disconnect all of it. So the wires will be disconnected, and those will be sort of isolated and offline. So just a quick update on that. His name's Brandon. Brandon Newborg has been with us. He's a licensed electrician, has probably been with us about 7 years, 8 years, something like that. Really good guy. He's been here before a couple times, but we're actually going to commit him now for a couple weeks. So he's going to come out. So he'll be working with Albert and kind of under Albert's leadership on that project and a handful of others. But that was just a quick update on something from last time.
Awesome, thank you. Debbie or Tom, any updates from dining?
Hello, everybody. I know you've probably seen some new faces, and I would like to introduce 2 new faces that are helping us with the transition to regional support, operation support staff from Sodexo. They're chefs, and one's Sergio and one is Jean, and I'll let them introduce themselves to you and give a little bit of background on.
Morning, everybody. My name is Sergio Palacios. I'm a resource support manager. I've been with Sodexo for about almost 2 years, so I'm just happy to be here. It's a beautiful community, and yeah, anything you need, please let me know. Most of the time for dinner, I'm always around the bistro area. So, all right, that's it.
Thank you, Sergio. Thanks. Sergio.
Sergio Palacios, but you can call me Sergio, you can call me Chef, whatever you like. Doesn't matter.
Pardon me. I'm Eugene Howard, but everybody calls me Gene, so you're welcome to do that. I started with Sodexo back when Moby Dick was a minnow. So I've been with the company 41 years. Started out as a chef. I was a GM for a while. Now I'm back, happy to be a chef again. This is actually my second time around here at Frederick. I was here a couple years ago when Sean was here, so I helped him out a little bit. But I'm very pleased to be back here. This is one of the most beautiful places I've been, and I've been from the East Coast to the West Coast. I think you have something very special here. So I'm a graduate of the Culinary Institute, did restaurants for a while, and then Sodexo. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gene.
I also wanted to give you an update. We're looking to trial a coffee machine, a new coffee machine in the Rotunda. It would take like probably about 2 weeks to get it in, a week and a half to 2 weeks. And it would be fresh ground brewed coffee from the machine. It would have a lot of the same things that it offers now with the liquid coffee, but less of the downtime when things go wrong. I know Mike said, I'm tired of that machine being down. So we were looking into other options, and this was one option that would be really good for this facility. And we're going to trial it for 2 weeks, and we'll put little comments, papers for you to let us know whether you like that one or the current one that we use. Okay?
Thank you. Sounds like progress.
And I also want to share that knowing that Tom Bachacco would be here today, I wore my crisp white shirt in honor of Tom. I've never seen him wear anything different. He wears that to the beach, actually.
It makes it easy getting dressed in the morning, right, Tom? You don't have to think, now what shirt am I going to put on?
Thank you for paving out front there. That's great. Are they planning on doing any more at all? Any more paving at all? Huh? Not this year? Well, it's great
so
in the front. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at Albert. He's shaking his head, not this year, but we're working on different strategies. So yes, it will be back, but at a different time. Yes.
I'm a plant and tree person. I'm wondering where we are with the diseased trees that are needing removal or possible trimming.
Al, do you want to grab the mic here on that one?
Well, good morning. We had Scott Ruth from Garden Spot Communities. A week or two ago, he worked with me and Ryan looking at the trees, the bushes, and now we are in the process of coming up with a plan of exactly like when to execute it. It is time consuming and to come up with the contractors that are going to be doing the trimming on the trees or cutting down trees. So we're trying to schedule all that together. Some of you'll probably see some of that happening here probably in the fall when the weather starts cooperating more. It's not so hot and we just don't want to rip them off right now and then have an empty spot. We want to be able to plant something again, and instead of having to be doing going back to a place. Like if we rip everything off right now, you have an empty, ugly space that full of dirt that then we have to come back later on to plant something. So might as well do both at the same time instead of just duplicating the work. So you should be able to start seeing some of that stuff probably September, October when the weather is starting to cooperate more.
Thank you, Al.
Susie Almendinger. I live in the patio, and I have a nice big light, which I don't mind if it doesn't come on, but I know around the pond and everything, the lights have been out for almost 2 weeks. So do you know when they're going to start trying to find what's going on? Because there we have no lights except what comes over from the street, the parking lot. Now I have light because I have that big window from Aspen right above my living room. So I don't need it. But I'm sure the people that walk down there, even the maintenance, I was told they can't remove that light because it has to be a light every so many feet. So I'm stuck with it, but that's all right. But it's funny that it's not on and they're walking around the pond. I don't think many people walk at night, but still, you never know.
So I'm going to give the best answer that I can, Al. If I'm missing anything, please let me know. So yes, we are aware of the issue. Yes, our electrician is aware of the issue as well. We're working to make sure that they're scheduled and able to come out and resolve the issue for the lighting around the pond in the evening. We also have a standing work order in place for the time being to make sure that we block the area off in the evening so that people aren't, people are aware. Obviously, you're aware the lights are out, but blocking it off so that you can't walk around that area at night when it's dark. And then we remove those in the morning. So we're aware of the issue to resolve and waiting on timing from the electrician. But in the meantime, we have that structure in place to make sure that people are safe for that time.
I'm glad to hear you're going to take the boxes out of the garages because we could use that space. Do you have a master list of what garages are lucky enough to have them?
I do not have a master list.
It would be well if you had something where we could, let you know which ones so we don't run all over trying to find the control boxes.
Understood, yes. So as we work with our IT team to help, as well as electrician to assist with that, yes, we are working on a strategy of who and when and where but we don't have that structure available at the moment.
Just to clarify, are you suggesting that maybe we have a phone number that people could call in if they have one of those in their garage, and then we could start to assemble a list? That's a great idea.
Sorry, Jim, didn't understand.
Are there any plans to extend the carryover of our money from one month to another month? That was discussed months ago. In diner services, has that been addressed or not?
Yes, it has been addressed. We are unable to roll anything out yet, though. Although a lot of different things, usually you wait one fiscal year to the next. This isn't one of those items. It's when we are prepared and are able to do it well, then we will be able to roll something like that out. We haven't finalized the details yet, so we don't have anything concrete to share. And for everyone's, to stir up everyone's memory, we have discussed and we are looking into, instead of your meal plan ending that month and only being good for that month, we're looking at extending the time frame to 2, 3, 4 months, something that is a little bit lengthier. It doesn't necessarily change the amounts in the meal plan, but it changes the structure and when you can utilize those dollars. So as soon as we have something that is workable and feasible, then we'll be able to present that information. It's not something that has been dropped. It's just not something that's ready at this moment in time.
Thanks. This is just a maintenance question. I know JK Mechanical was supposed to start doing maintenance on Monday. I haven't seen many trucks around, though. Is that completed, ongoing? Do we have a status on that?
Are you referencing the preventive maintenance work?
Right.
They have been on campus this week performing that, so I'm not sure if they're not visible to you yet or in the moment, but yes, that work has started as scheduled.
It's not completed. Thank you.
In relation to that, are they going to let us know when they're coming to our house to do it, or are they just going to show up?
Al, do you have a kind of communication-related answer to that?
Yeah, I don't really have any answer to that one. I hope that you will know, like, when they're coming. I know that they send the general email or message saying that they will be here, but I don't know when they're going to be specifically at your house.
So perhaps, we're, as you're aware of, we have discussed previously, we are working diligently within our maintenance team and within our housekeeping team to be able to communicate properly when we are doing the work that we need to do in your homes. We can connect and work best as possible with JK Mechanical on preventive maintenance issues, not issues, but preventive maintenance work, and see if we can have a more formalized communication rather than, as you mentioned, just showing up. That is something that we can certainly try to sink our teeth into.
Very visible this week was a contingency of quite a number of people walking the grounds with rolled up, speculated, as we all do, blueprints in hand. And then there was this conversation on the changing of the body shop into the previous Cedarwood section. Is there a time frame for that to happen? And I just know I don't need a question I mean, an answer to the walking around with blueprints. We know it's happening. But I just wondered about the movement of the body shop into that specific area.
Sure. So that was actually, I forgot, that was one of the things I wrote down, that question, because I got that question a lot on Wednesday. Who are all those men? So if you were around and you saw, you know, upwards of 25 gentlemen around here, kind of by the CK1 old PTOT space area. Funny story, I received an email about a week before, just giving me an acknowledgement. Hey, would it be okay if some guys come around and check things out? Some is not 25 in my book, but apparently the guy who emailed me, 25 is some. Anyway, so those were contractors and subcontractors who we believe are going to assist us with the transformation of that space. And transformation of that space that we're going to be able to show you photos and a little bit more detail at that next town hall meeting. We'll really incorporate our physical and occupational therapy space upstairs as well as the body shop into this beautifully renovated space. How long does that take? Obviously, there are a lot of factors involved, but we believe that that project, given the fact that we're not building new walls outside of it or expanding our footprint, we believe that that is a project that we can accelerate and complete earlier than some other building that we have. So I don't want to put a time frame to it, but that's what I can say with certainty.
No, that's a great summary. And I also am always underestimating the amount of time it takes to get things done. So I won't put a time frame. But as Mike mentioned, we have some significant construction planned for the future, you know, but we have to go through land development plans and approvals and municipality meetings and all those kind of things in order to get that accomplished. This is a project we can do much quicker than that. And so the goal is to get that done. One of the things I have heard consistently is just a deep appreciation for Fran and the work in the body shop, and just yeah, we wish she had a little bit more space. And so the plan is to give her the space that she needs, that her team needs, and the equipment, the new equipment that will be beneficial for everybody, and just really be able to create a great spot for people to come, get their workout in, hang out a little bit, enjoy community and relationship, and then that'll be the kind of the kickoff of a series of construction events that will occur on the campus. But again, more conversation on that coming up on September 5th.
Yeah, I have a question, a follow-up question. These people going around looking at things, do you have contractors that are already established, and do you go out and competitive bid? How does that process work?
Yeah, and Steve, you can certainly talk to this as well, but there's a general contractor that we have an agreement with that we've worked with on a design build process. They've been included in the conversation from the beginning so that they can help manage the conversation so it's done in an affordable and effective way. So what they do then is go out and bid out all the subs. So they have multiple proposals from different subcontractors for the different areas of the work that will be accomplished. And so that will be included in that final grouping that comes through. So one of the reasons that they would have a larger group is because right now the subcontractors are hungry for work, and so more of them would have showed up than probably anybody anticipated, which means better pricing in the long run, and so we're excited about that. And the other aspect to this is we will be bringing in a third-party owner's representative who will also be helping to manage the process on our behalf to make sure that things are done well and that they're done in a cost-effective way and getting the best bang for the buck that we possibly can.
Yeah, I think that kind of says it all. So the short answer is definitely yes. that we're getting competitive bids on this. When you have a large group like that come out, sometimes they don't understand just by looking at the prints, like, okay, exactly how involved is this? Do I need to take ceilings out and, connect piping and all the rest of that? Once they take a look at it, that subcontractor that's working on the air conditioning and heating systems and things, they might decide, like, this is too big for the time frame that I have, or this is too big for the labor force that I have. And they might put a bid in that's very expensive, because if I'm to do this, it's going to cost me a lot more. And then our general contractor looks at that and is able to say, like, okay, they would have been a really qualified subcontractor to have, but their price is way too high. So it's a really good process. It's very involved, but it can generate 25 folks coming out, walking around with plans.
Some, yeah.
Hi, Kay Ross. I'm wondering, when you do have a new place for Fran, what will happen to her old place? Do you have plans for what will go in there?
We do. Yes, yeah, and JD may or may not, we'll have to talk to him about whether he's bringing that whole plan for reformatting that space. But it's really designed, as they move out of that area, then we'll, at one of the future stages, do a renovation of that main area outside. So that'll become the entrance to the building right out here, and it'll be freshened up and create a sort of a community center area. So library will still be there. There'll still be some other things that are occurring there, but we'll make use of all of those little spaces in order to just freshen up and give a better place for people to gather.
Judy Shelley, and we're having an issue with getting grab bars for our bathtub, and I suspect that we're not the only ones that need them, but there are no really good grab bars on our bathtub. I twisted my knee about 6 weeks ago, and I've been in PT ever since, and can't take a bath now until we get grab bars. Maintenance has been over twice and looked at it and said, well, maybe we could, but maybe we can't. And so, yeah, it's kind of unacceptable for an over 55 community to not have grab bars in a bathtub. So I was wondering what the issues are.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a problem we should be able to solve. I think Albert may have a response to that as we go through. There are some new kinds of grab bars that have been developed more recently that may be applicable for this situation. We can certainly talk about that.
Yeah, that was a conversation that I actually had with Matt Stolzfus last week, because somebody that is moving in wanted grab bars and a shower that has a finish wall behind it. So the hard thing is to put a grab bar on existing equipment, because there's nothing to grab it from the back. There's no studs in the back that is ready for that. But Matt Stolzfus and another company that he works with have found that they have developed this other product that we're going to be trying to see if that works. We just don't want to start putting them all over the place without knowing if it's going to work or not. But yes, we are working in the background on a solution to that, because it is hard to put something on when there's no backing to support the weight of a person. So short answer, we're working on it.
Short answer, yes. I think we have a product, and we can go ahead and order some of those and get them installed and check it out. But we've heard great reports. It's a new technology that's been developed that is specifically applicable for this kind of situation. So we will get that moving forward. And we'll get those ordered this week and try and get those installed as soon as they come in. So thank you for bringing that up. That's important. We got two over here, and then we'll work our way back across the aisle.
in line with the shrubbery thing, but not doing any planting. Is there any plans to cut down all the dead trees, to get them out? That's not planting anything, but get rid of, from a visual standpoint, if you walk out the bistro and look down, just those dead trees that go across, they don't even need a tree person to come in. I'll cut them down if you give me, if you allow it, because there's no buildings around. You just drop them and then clean up. That's it. It would definitely help the appearance. Just get rid of the dead trees on the campus.
Yeah, thank you. I see Al nodding his head in agreement in the background, so we can work on that. Yeah. That's when I got out of high school. That I worked for the Rural Valley Electric Company in Huntington County, clearing power lines. So I could join you that day. There you go.
Are there any plans to expand this room in the expansion you're talking, or the renovations you're talking about, or is that going to be accomplished with new development somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't know that we're able to expand this room. Do you recall from looking at those?
So this can be loaded with caveats, but I don't have to do that, right? So one caveat, this is, these ideas at this point are far from formalized. But from what I recall, as far as the footprint of this auditorium, it is challenging really on all four sides to maneuver space. Does that ultimately mean hard no, that will be out of plans? No, it doesn't mean that. But just from initial review and some initial sketches, it's hard to expand these walls based on what's behind them.
This is probably a question I should wait for September's meeting to ask, but I'll ask it anyway. When it comes to the new addition that is planned, and I'm not quizzing anything about that at this point, what I'm asking is the removal of the modular home definitely going to happen?
I'm certain that everyone doesn't want that to leave campus. But unfortunately, as part of that expansion, yes, we will unfortunately have to rid ourselves of the modular.
Just a little bit of an update while we have a law in the action here. One of the things you may or may not have heard about, but we had an opportunity to kickstart a new program in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we are working with a nonprofit development organization in Harrisburg and renovating or repurposing an 8-story tall office building into apartments for people 55 and over in that city. So it's a location right across the street from the courthouse, right off of Riverfront Park, looks out over the Susquehanna River. Really beautiful, beautiful location, and a historic 8-story Art Deco apartment building is what it will become. So we're excited about that and looking forward to that coming online early next year. So it'll be called the Exchange in Harrisburg. It was built originally in the late 1800s, like the 1895, for the group that was the precursor to the Chamber of Commerce there. So really neat opportunity to kind of stretch a little bit into a city that we haven't served, a city that's underserved at this point, and be able to bring some new opportunities for living there in a way that's affordable.
question about the lighting in the auditorium. We show movies in here on Saturday night, and there are 5 lights that are continuously bright. Now, I've questioned that before, and I don't remember if I got an answer or not. But there are 5 lights that are always on, and it's very hard sometimes to see the movie itself.
Yeah, that has to do with kind of emergency lighting that's required to be maintained. And every room has a certain amount or certain size of that has to be covered in order to maintain code compliance. Steve, do you have any thoughts on, we could take a look and see whether that is the appropriate number.
Well, there used to be one on all the time, and that's not a problem, but they're across the front and the side. So if you like to see the movies, and we show some really good movies, very, very up to date.
And a movie's just not really helpful if you can't see it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, let's take a look. Al's making a note. We'll take a look at seeing whether those are the appropriate ones to be lit, what's the minimal number that we need to have lit. So thank you.
Thank you. Here you are.
Larry and I sometimes go over our food budget before the 10th of the month comes, and then we have to drag out a manager, and they have to come out of the kitchen from whatever they were doing and come over and do the code, and the lines build up sometimes doing that. Is there a reason? I mean, there's obviously a reason why that has to be, but what's the reason for having to have a manager's override if you go over your pricing, and is there any chance that could be taken away?
So the manager's override is just so that we make sure residents know they're going over their balance, because we've had issues in the past where people went over their balance and then we get emails or phone calls saying, I went over, nobody let me know. If I would have known, I wouldn't have bought X, Y, and Z. So that's part of the history behind that. As far as your balance, it does print on your receipts after every purchase. So you can look at that. And I know the online system here is a little bit glitchy right now, and we're working on that. Once we get that fixed, you'll also be able to just go online and look at your balance, and you can look at your purchases as well. But we're still working on that. I don't know what happened with it. It was working, but now we're having some issues with it. So we're working with the company to get that fixed.
Should have had Tom sit up here with you. Then. Yes, in the back.
I know the plans for expansion have been kind of a mystery in the past, and understandably so. Whatever the expansion is, which we'll become aware of, I guess, at the meeting you referred to, upcoming meeting, is the plan that the residents in that new area will be served by the same dining room and the same kitchen that we're presently using?
Yes, that's correct. There's sufficient capacity in the kitchen to be able to provide for those folks. And so part of the opportunity is to expand some seating areas as we work on kind of renovations out in that general area to provide a little more flexibility in seating so that folks have an opportunity to find a seat when they want it, and that is all resolved and taken care of. But the kitchen itself, there's certainly enough capacity there to be able to provide for the limited number of people that will be moving into the campus.
Do we have an idea of the increase in population, like units? Or is that too hidden until September 5th?
I'm drawn, do you recall the number? It's in the 40s? 45 units, yeah, 45 apartments, that kind of thing. So it's not, we're not tripling the capacity. You know, there's there's not a flood of people that are going to be rolling in. But it'll be a nice increase onto the campus and will certainly help in a number of different ways. And you'll see specifics on all of that on September 5th.
I happen to really like to do puzzles right now, and downstairs, the puzzles have lost their shelving, and they're in a cabinet. So in order for me to get the puzzles that I want, I wind up standing on a chair. Is there any possibility of getting the shelves back so that we can use the puzzles?
In short, yes. So certainly in that downstairs space, we have some opportunity to improve what exists and what exists right now, and that certainly is something that we can accommodate.
And I would say you probably sped up the process by saying you were standing on a chair to get the existing puzzles. That's not what we want, yeah.
I just have a question, because of us doing our show that we did, is there any way that one of the sides could have a ramp in there? Because when we went out to Garden Spot, that ramp was just really nice, especially for us, because we had the rollators and we could do that.
Yes,
But
yeah.
I think we need at least one side where we could have a ramp.
We have had conversation about that, and we're challenged. Again, you know, Mike was talking about the challenges of this room, and the only way, I mean, you could potentially get a ramp on this side, but because of the height, it would have to go down across, block that door, and then roll down that side. It's the Americans with Disability Act provides a very specific slope that it has to be. And so it would take up a lot of that corner of the room. So those are conversations we have looked at and go, oh, there's just no easy way to do it. But doesn't mean it can't ever be done. It would just mean we'd have to reconfigure the whole front of this room and limit access into this room.
Okay, thank you.
All the paperback books in cartons in the closet.
I don't have a good answer at this particular point in time. That is a very good question. That is a very good question. Not lost on us, right? I mean, are you getting up or? Emily's starting to get up on this. She can provide a little bit better answer than I can.
Yeah, I think it's just a process we're working through. So the first step was to make space for the trains to move down there, and we were doing it on kind of a tight schedule, so that required us to move the puzzles, move the, as well as the paperback books. So we still have access to those paperback books, except for some that we put on the donation tables at our recent, when we were doing a clean out of books. So I think the next step is just, which books do we want to keep? Where do we want to put them? Do we need additional shelving down there? Getting some eyes at, that's something we've talked about. We just haven't made a ton of progress yet. So it's kind of a step-by-step process. But that would be our next step, is that shelving piece.
If we can't put a ramp in, they make lifts, and a lift would fit there.
Yeah, and lifts function. It just, for a situation like this where you're trying to get on for a performance and off for a performance, lifts are really slow. So you have to get in, there's safety mechanisms that have to be engaged, then it kind of creeps up, and then you deactivate the safety mechanism on the front, go through, and then the whole process. So it would absolutely function. The question is, would it really meet the need that's being presented? So.
Okay, I can answer the question for the game room. I'm the guilty one that put all the puzzles in the cabinet. That game room has also been a place for storage. We had to clean it up for games that we had here recently in Frederick. There was Christmas stuff, there was trash, there was train stuff sitting on the shuffleboard. We cleaned it all up, and we're near the end. But with a simple solution, there's a piano sitting down there and 2 old chairs. We can move them out. We could do it immediately. I figured out how to do it. Once we move them out, there's a place we could put shelves and then get the pool table that was removed back in. Then we will have a shuffleboard, cornhole, we have checkers, we have a puzzle table, we have ping pong that had to be reset up, a pool table, and a poker table. And I think we can do that quickly, very quickly. So I was going to ask previously if you 2 gentlemen have 10 minutes after this meeting, we would go down in that room and resolve some things, really, without getting into discussion here. It's a simple, simple fix right now to make it more universal for the residents and for your marketing and sales department. Because they look at other facilities and they have nice game rooms. I don't think anyone wants to really see our game room and compare it. It's not meant to be a storage area.
And
So my question is, after this meeting, are you willing to take 10 minutes and do it?
Well played, by the way.
You know, Frank, that could get every conversation, coffee and conversation in town hall meeting. If we start this with you, every single person's going to say, you gave Frank 10 minutes. I'm going to take 10 minutes on my topic. Let's talk after. How's that sound? Genuine, appreciate it, and thank you for the initiative in certain ways. Really, genuinely, it's a good space, and thank you for that. The one thing, and we'll talk about this later, the pool table that was moved, it was broken, like badly broken, and it was very problematic. So that's entirely gone, but we'll get into that later.
That's why I don't want to do it now, because I disagree. And your staff disagrees, so,
Okay. Pretty hard to follow.
Yeah, if there's nothing else, we will go ahead and close it up. We thank you for the past 52 minutes and good conversation. Sounds like we have a follow-up appointment we have to engage in. And conveniently, you left us 10 minutes in the hour. So, Frank, I think it's going to be hard to refuse. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you all. Have a great rest of the day.